able to achieve more as a community than we have done in the past. I'm sure you are aware of the narrative of the two universities in one for the worker and one for the employer. Given an opportunity, I'll want to work on this together with the team that will be in office with to improve this relationship so that all our affairs, simple issues, can be handled with a lot of respect from each other and of course with a lot of the urgency that we deserve. Number 3, it is my agenda to diversify member education. You will realize that over the years, our members lack, to some extent, certain crucial information, be it things to do with Labor Relations Act, be it things to do with their own rights as employees, or their own rights as members of even this particular union. There are many other issues to do with education. We may not have done well so far, but this becomes one of my main agendas, that we will diversify. We will not have a unilateral education for members, but we want a membership that is very educated in all aspects of matters as an employee and a member of this union. Number 4, job security. We always sit back and think that if you're permanent and pensionable, you are safe. If you're on contract, you are not very safe. It is my agenda that we look at the legislative agendas that resonate with job security. Is there a way we can better protect our jobs so that people are not sacked or suspended or dismissed without due regard to the law? We have seen this happen to our members. We have learned. We have identified how best we can deal with this. And this is my promise that if elected, I will, together with other members of not just the chapter, but even the national office, we will relook at the relevant labor laws that seek to protect the employer against the employee, especially when it comes to job security. Some small things like insubordination, which are not well defined in law, have been used against our members. We have to look at how to address this so that we can better protect the jobs of our members. And finally, number 5, I am determined and I have the resolve that we are going to change the UASU constitution for simple reason. And I want to give a very quick one here. If you look at the structure of UASU in terms of decision making, the process is slow and long. You have a meeting as an executive, the chapter secretary has to attend the National Executive Council, and then a resolution is made, and then some of the resolutions have to wait until the end of the year, when now the National Delegates Conference has to ratify. Members become impatient. In the process, they think we are doing nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, if elected, those are my 5 agendas, not just for the chapter, but for the UASU in general. Please, I'm calling this a process, and I'm asking members to trust this process. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Wanasawende, for keeping to time and saving a few minutes. So the next session is questions from our moderators here. And the first question is going to come from Dr. Joyce Mohab, and it is going to be addressed to Bwana Dick Okalo.
Thank you so much, the contestants, for articulating your issues very clearly. So I have a question that members have been asking. So it's a compilation of many questions, but focusing on one theme. Bwana Dick, sorry, I can't see. Okay. Bwana Dick, the question is that you have been very instrumental in highlighting the pertinent issues that affect members. And actually, UASU members said this is a very positive move because you have empowered members with information that they did not know. And nevertheless, they raised an issue about the manner in which you put these issues across. They say that you come out very strong, sort of high-handedness, and sort of also dictatorial, and one person who does not respect authority. That's the members' assessment of you. And so they ask that you want a very sensitive office, the position, and you will be negotiating with management about these issues. So how would you go about this, with keeping in mind that you lack patience and you are highly resistant to various matters?
Wow.
Wow. I don't know where to begin, but I'm a very, I don't know, I'm a very focused person. And the issues that I articulate are very much clear in my mind. Exactly what they are and what the office needs to do. My persistence, my insistence on issues has been because of the intransigence that sometimes we experience with the office. They want to brush it under the carpet and not take it as an issue. And that, in itself is not good for the UASU members. I have tried as much as possible to be very gentle, firm, but you can be firm but gentle in your approach. And maybe that's what people see as what they see as dictatorial. But I'm not a dictator. At least them who know me really well and them who have interacted with me know that I'm the most peaceable and the most genuine person and the most wonderful person that you can easily get along with. So I don't take that, maybe it's just a perception that has been created by a particular individual. I think this is a character, this is a quality that we need with management. When you're negotiating with them, it's good to know what you want and you insist on what you want. Be firm on what you want, and then you negotiate, at that level. And I believe, therefore, that that which is in me more than enables me to face management, face the council, and tell them my issues. Because I know the issues very well, and I try to articulate them to the best knowledge that I can. So I thank that person, for at least for commending me, that I'm very vocal. And it's true, I've been very vocal, right from, I don't know when, but I have been very vocal, educating members on the UASU issues, the Constitution, what is expected of them, the office, what they need to do to the members. And I'm glad that this is bearing fruit. The members are coming out and they know their rights, they know the expectation, they are more eager now to respond and engage, the UASU guys. So I think I thank him for that. I'm glad that it's a positive, for me, it's a positive comment, that has worked well for the UASU guys.
Thank you so much, Bonadik. I forgot to say that you have up to 5 minutes to respond. Thank you so much. The next question is to Jacinta Kimuyu, and this is going to come from Dr. Tabitha.
My question goes to you, Lady J.
Thank you.
The questions are coming from the members, and there's this one question. Members appreciate that you have a wealth of experience from what you are telling us on the forum. But there's this question that they are asking, and this is the question. As an ATL, academic thematic leader, will you really be able to defend a member of the union during disciplinary? Because here I think your one foot will be in administration and your other foot will be as a UASU advocate, as you have said, advocate or spokesman. Then they are also raising concerns and asking, how sure are we that you will not be compromised by management at the expense of members now that you sit at the Senate? That is a question from a few members, actually most of the members. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, colleagues, for raising those concerns. I look at it like there's no job without an interview. And I look at these questions very positively. Thank you for the compliment of appreciating my wealth of experience. And I must say, throughout my career growth, from graduate assistant to another university, up to senior lecturer in the current university where I am, it is very true that I have gained a lot of experience which can be tapped by many of our members. And I am also a people person. I've interacted very well with our professors and I've also tapped a lot from them. That one, I am appreciating your assessment, which is very true that I have experience. Question number 2 about being an ATL and whether I will be able to defend the union members. One thing I must say is I am that union member who also needs to be defended by that secretary who is me. When I look at myself as a union member, I look at it the way you are looking at it as you are a staff member, whether you are a lecturer, whether you are a graduate assistant, whether you are a professor, but you delink your work from the union to look at your concerns very carefully. For example, when we talk about healthcare, which is very pertinent to me, the way everybody is affected by healthcare is the same way Dr. Jacinta Kimuyu, who is purported to be an ATL, and I'll use the word purported because when you are earmarked and you are being told that you can be an ATL of an academic department which is yet to be created. And in this aspect, I want to talk about contracts between employee and employer. It can either be verbal, it can either be written. So when you are told, when we create this academic department, we will make you the ATL. You are not yet an ATL, in my perspective. When you sit in Senate, you sit in Senate because you have been told, come and contribute to the agenda of Senate, which everybody can be called depending on the contribution which is required of you. That should not compromise your stand as the leader, as the spokesperson of the people. Actually, I turn everything good for the members because as a member of Senate, this is not a place to be compromised. And I'm one focal member of Senate. One member who asks questions even when senior professors are quiet. We have come out of Senate and they tell me, Jacinta, you are daring. You are the only one who could ask that question. Sometimes you'll be shut down and you say, after all, it has been hard. Ask Dr. Moyo has been in Senate. And I don't want her to comment here. I've been very vocal. And the same way, I will be vocal. About the academic excellence being championed at the Senate. And that is also a forum because I believe at Senate we have always had a session for AOB. AOB is any other business. And that is the time I'll raise my hand. And thank God many meetings are virtual currently. That is the time I sneak in an agenda of the union members, and I can tailor it depending on the mood of the Senate, because one skill I have is communication and being able to assess the atmosphere and when to say what. Sometimes you can even sneak in a very serious agenda as a joke. Sometimes you can put it as you are also wondering why lecturers are working from the parking, and you will also be answered. We are concerned about the way we have lost the glory of the academic career I know I coveted when I was young. Today it's not the same, and I don't fear to champion that agenda in whatever forum. In fact, you're just asking about this Senate. I'm looking at forward to taking our agenda even beyond the university to we have the National Academic Committee where I can sit and we ask some of these questions for our environment and our working terms to be better. Thank you.
Proud for Dr. Jacinta. Asante sana, Daktari. The next question is to Fred Sawenja, and this is going to be asked by Professor Onyango. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chair. Thank you so much, aspirants, for the articulations. Now, I have so many questions for Saweja, but I will only maybe restrict myself to only 3. No, it is a 3 in 1. It's combined in 1. Yeah, because there is one person who is asking, how are you going to address the issue of gender parity? How are you going to address the issue of gender parity in the union? And also the issue of staff harassment in the finance office. As an SG, are you aware of this? And how are you going to address this issue? Then lastly, also, the member is also complaining about the monthly subscription for union members. It is extremely high. Are you aware about it? And can you address it? What do you think about the subscription? Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Members, gender parity. As I had mentioned in my agenda item number 1 for this union, is that we must, all of us, exercise, live to the aspirations of our members as espoused in our constitution. And one of the objectives of this union is actually gender parity. As a chapter secretary, I have a team that I need to be working with. I know during campaigns you put out there a team, and if you have seen it, you've already seen that indeed we have representation of about 50 to 50 of both genders. But most importantly, I have always held this belief that some positions in the union must be subjected to affirmative action. And it has been a long thing coming, and we have all along been kind of having affirmative action in the seat of treasurer. So that whichever way elections go, you are most unlikely to have either of the genders predominating the executive. So that is one thing that is very constitutional, that we hold, personally I hold dear to my aspirations for this particular union, and it can be seen in the manner in which we have, asked members to come out and vie for the various positions. If one was to look at the so-called team that we want to work with. And number 2, staff harassment at finance. Resonates very well with my second agenda of improving employer-employee relations. That we have one university for all of us. That we don't have a university for the employer and a university for the employees. How I intend to deal with this we have been working with this because, for your information, I've been chair of this union for 5 years. We know the challenges that come with that office, and I want to say that there is a certain degree of lack of independence in that office, and we would want to emancipate that office from that kind of situation. It's a long shot, but our intention is that we find favor with the council and hopefully with the ministry, that we will look at the structure of the institution so that we have a position of DVC finance. And in that way, we will have to liberate the office of finance and possibly have it operate more of independent and indeed respect the provisions of the service charter of this particular institution. I've been mentioning that just the same way we get letters of show cause why, it has been difficult to demand the same kind of action from the other members of the network. Then finally, monthly subscriptions. In 2014, when this union was reviewing its constitution in Nakuru to change the subscription to 2%, I was then voting for 1.5%. And indeed, it resonates very well with my point number 5 of constitutional change, because we want to free up union monies to help the union be more innovative and use the money to be more beneficial to members. It may not necessarily be that now that the monies members are getting new salaries, we expect the revenues to go up. So 1.5% will make a lot of sense. So as we do the constitutional change agenda that I have, that will be part of the discussion that we'll be putting forward to the members. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I will applaud. So the next session is for the audience. We will take a question. Ideally, if we can distribute the question amongst all the contestants, that would be good. We don't want one contestant to be asked all the questions. So the mic, pick one mic and take it around. So open to the audience.
I have a question for Dr. Andy Okaro.
Is the mic on? Mic. And for purposes of being seen by the virtual audience, please stand when you are speaking so that they can capture you well.
Thank you, members. My name is Naomi Kishunge. I have a question for Dr. Dick Okaro. In your whatever you were telling us, you said you're going to make sure that all the CBAs are negotiated and implemented in time. How are you going to do this? Because all CBAs negotiations are controlled by the management and the government. Are you going to have a hand in the government, or are you going to have a hand in the management? That is the question.
Thank you very much. If we could take a bit, you've noted that. If we could take other questions. There is no other question? Oh, there's a question there. Right there.
Good morning once again.
Good morning.
Good afternoon. My name is Linda Allen. Again, I'll repeat that I'm vying for the position of the post of a delegate. So my question to all contestants, all the chapter secretary contestants, is that I want to know how you are going to incorporate the members' ideas through the delegates into your leadership. I want to know the strategy, the kind of strategy you are going to use to do that. My second question is to the contestant, Dick Okalo. You have expressed that the outgoing chapter leadership have been beyond reproach, that you cannot even you're not able to get some, I mean, when you are tasked with the welfare part, you are not able to get some documents from them. So I want to know what you're going to do about transitioning in order to realize that change that you've been talking about, because we know that a union, in order for a union to change progressively, you need institutional memory to do that. So how are you going to navigate through that, seeing that you're not able to work with these people?
Thank you very much, Dr. Linda. Then we will take one more at the back, and then we listen to the responses from the contestants.
Very well, my name is Sigu Bave. My question to the contestants is that you're well aware that the university has employed on contract basis a number of tutorial fellows and graduate assistants. And you may also be aware that this bulk of employees also do a lot of work in addition to the requirements that they need to show progress for their PhD or their masters, respectively. If you are elected as secretary, as chapter secretary for TUK, what specifically will you do to lessen the load of these individuals, given the fact that they are still on staff development and they need to take half, if not thereabouts of the load? But we know the reality is they take quite a huge chunk of teaching and also supervising students. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for those questions. I think there are two general questions to all the contestants, and then there are two specific questions to Okalo Dick. So in all fairness, we will give Okalo slightly more time because of the two questions that are specific to him. So we will start, in fact, with Okalo Dick. Please, if you could respond to the questions. Asante.
I'll start with the CBA question that was raised by my fellow contestant. Naomi, though she's vying for position of assistant treasurer, she's a former treasurer 10 years, but now she wants to come back, and be treasurer and assistant treasurer. It baffles me, why anybody would do that. Now, what we want to do with the CBA, the CBA negotiations, is that we want to lessen the time for negotiations. A CBA should not be negotiated. 2013-2017 CBA was just negotiated and approved by the management just the other day. We are back almost 5 years. I believe that a CBA should be negotiated within a very short time. And that's what I meant by the CBA. We are working on the CBA and implementing it, negotiating it, registering and implementing. We should not take 5 years, okay, talking about a CBA. A CBA can be negotiated even within a year, or even less, and let it be operational. What we have realized with the previous office, they take a long time. They take even 5 years. We are in 2021, all right? The CBA of 2017 and 2021 should be operational. Now that has not even begun, or I'm not very sure of the details, okay? But what I'm saying there is CBAs don't need to take 5 years or even more just to negotiate a CBA and make it be signed by the management. A member asked about the BBF. The BBF, that's the Benevolence Fund. It was actually an initiative of the staff okay, as well as, of course, a policy, something that was passed in the ADC for members to initiate to begin in this members benevolence fund. What we intend to do for this particular document that we have prepared, we worked so tirelessly to prepare it, and we did it in record time. It has taken 10 years, even more. We know that from the records, okay, that this has taken the university a long time, and we are able to do this. I was able to do this under my team in less than 3 months, okay? And in fact, if anything, it should be operational now, but for some reason it's not, okay? We as Team Change, I represent Team Change in these elections, and we want to drain the swamp. We want to ensure that we bring a new team completely in the UASU office. A new team which is not carrying any blemish, which is not carrying any baggage. We don't want the baggage of the old guys. We don't want people of those years, you know. They are the ones who have led us to where we are. So we strongly believe that that is not a baggage we need to carry. We want to bring new people there, new team, and the first item on our agenda will be to activate this BBF. I'm promising this congregation, I'm promising this team that within 100 days of us being in office, that this BBF will be operational. In one way or the other, it will be operational, because I don't see anything else, you know, that should be holding this from being active. Now, members issue, you know, being translated, you know, but the delegates translating members' issues, that is a very, very important point. We, as in my team, what we intend to do, and I've got some serious people in the delegates, what we intend to do is that we'll be holding forums. We'll have a forum whereby we engage the members of UASU, talk with them, and engage them on various issues, and they give us recommendations. And once they've given us these recommendations, then we will take it to the National Delegates Conference, okay, to the national level, and ensure that their voice is heard, okay? The voice of the members is heard through the delegates. Lastly, the TF and the GS. I'm aware of the challenges that you face. You know, in terms of the load, you know, the excess sometimes of work that you need to do, and of course you need to be accountable concerning your studies that you are undertaking. What we intend to do there is to engage management in such a way that we want management to understand, number one, that these are graduates, these are TFs, and these are GAs that need to be supported. And for them to be supported, one of the ways that you can really support them is by lessening their load. We want management to give you a lesser load. I know some of you teach even up to 4 or 5 courses. We are aware of that. And that ought not to be the case for UGS. Number 2, you know, we want to ensure that we want to try and make sure that, you know, issues like you're given some benefits, you know, the issue of maybe fee waiver, you know, that is passed on to you, so that again you don't burden yourself, because you're teaching. In fact, you are a member of staff, so some of these benefits you ought to be enjoying. So we have a very comprehensive plan concerning the GS and the TFs on that particular issue.
Well, thank you. I was about to show you time, but it just concluded. Thank you so much. So we will give Sawenja Fred an opportunity to respond to the 2 general questions. One was on TFs, the other one was on representation.
Thank you, Chair. How to incorporate member ideas in running a union using the delegates. Members, this is the first time that delegates are being elected. And so this is what, if elected the chapter secretary, I'm going to do. I will attach each of the elected delegates to a particular faculty or school, because these elections might result in the delegates which are not representative of the entire faculty. You can have delegates from one school or all of them from a distribution of vote. So once we are done with the elections, if I manage to get to the post, I will attach a delegate to a faculty, and I'm intending to do this. If we have 7 delegates, there will be 2 delegates per faculty, and then there will be 1 delegate who probably does not have a portfolio. They will mine information from the faculty, they will present to a delegates forum at the chapter level, which will then prosecute to the National Executive Council even before we go to the NDC. And that way, it will be bottom-up approach in addressing our issues. Number 2, on GAs and TFs. The greatest challenge that was facing our GAs especially was the placement by universities across the country. Case in point, in our institution, GAs would be employed either in grade 8, grade 9, grade 10, or even grade 11. So some would be in the academic division, and others would be in the non-teaching division. We managed in the 2017-2021 National CBA to sort out that mess. That was our first step, that now GAs are actually academic. So grade 10 is now an academic position. What does that mean? It means even when being given duties in the department, first and foremost, you must be treated as a member of academia before you are given all these other things. But going forward, the challenges around GAs and TFs has largely to do with the length of their contract period. You're worried about your contract running out, you're worried about running your education and so on. You don't have a scholarship, and the manager and the institution is not supporting you. So how are we going to deal with this? In my agenda of changing the constitution, I want to suggest to the national office and everybody else who thinks like I'm thinking, that we negotiate with the management, we negotiate for longer contract terms, 3 years for GA, 5 years for TF. But then we want to free up UASU funds, so that even UASU can set up a scholarship fund. If you read the constitution, you will see that indeed we need to set up a scholarship fund. And therefore, if I manage to be the chapter secretary and I pursue this agenda, we will have a scholarship fund where we will be training a GA and a TF, at least 1 in every university, every year going forward, and then we improve. But most importantly, if you get a longer contract term, if you miss a scholarship, employer sponsorship for your education, you can access an education loan payable over a minimum period of how many years? 3 years. So you can sponsor yourself to study and you stop worrying about this. And then employer-employee relations. If we can work like I'm suggesting at the department, you can be sure we shall be negotiating even with the chair of the department that please treat this as an academic member of staff, not a messenger who will be running around. That is my idea, and if it works, I know it's a dialogue that will yield fruits, even beyond myself, if I become chapter secretary. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bwana Sawenja. Finally, we'll give Dr. Jacinta Kimuyu an opportunity to respond to those 2 broader questions that were asked on TFs and GAs and addressing members' issues.
Thank you, Chairman, for the opportunity. I would like to start with the issue of graduate assistants and tutorial fellows who are being given a lot of work, who are overwhelmed. At the same time, they should be delivering on their progress in the academic progression. I, as the aspiring chapter secretary, I look at it from borrowing from my own experience. I was employed at the university as a graduate assistant. And I was told at induction that graduate assistant is not a teaching position, but a training position to be an academician. Pick that, my graduate assistants. And I will be very vocal about this. I am very concerned because I've seen scenarios where even at times senior people are taking the graduate assistants to be carrying their load. This idea of the senior lecturer, that is Dr. Kimuyu, stroke, a graduate assistant to work under me, has been misused in this university. When I was a graduate assistant, I never used to teach. And I was told it is criminal to teach any grade which I'm at the same level with. The university policy is to be able to teach as a graduate assistant. You will be teaching people who also are acquiring the degree at the same level you are. You need to be one grade higher and to teach those below you. That is the training I was given. Back to our policy. I know a young university has transition issues. We have so many policies which are existing, which have not been implemented. But on the issue of graduate assistants being overworked, this is an issue which I will be very focal, because when you come to be a graduate assistant, one, you should be working under a mentor. And I thank God for the new structure which has provision for academic team leaders who are supposed to be the mentors to these young people. Again, the issue of tutorial fellows. When you become a TF, your work is to give tutorials. Your mentor can have a course which is running, and they give you a tutorial to go and engage the students. Now you are being trained on how to work. And this is the policy we should be looking forward to being implemented, so that we free our graduate assistants to pursue their academic mandates, because you are a member of staff under training. And I will very much encourage our graduate assistants and tutorial fellows who have not attained the qualifications of teaching. You cannot become a don through taking 10 units to teach in that department. You can become a don through advancing your academic career. You do your master's, you do your PhD. I thank God I did my PhD when I was on full-time employment. I did not even take leave a single day. I applied to this university to seek for funding to pay for my academics, and I have it written that this was not an initiative of the university. Can you look for funding? I wrote and applied for my scholarship, and I was granted. So I have a lot of experience. I will need to have a session with the graduate assistants as the chapter secretary, not to radicalize, but at least to tell you some of your rights which are not being communicated to the same people who overload you. On the issue of strategy to incorporate delegates, members' ideas, I have said, and I've been saying in my campaign, that I will work through consultative forums. I will have engagements. Thank God to the online platforms, the UASU WhatsApp group. That is a good forum to engage. We should minimize the heckling. We should minimize the antagonism. And we structure our communication platforms to be having the agenda of us as the academicians. That is a very good forum to engage. The other specific areas how the delegates will come in, they are very key. And we can attach them to particular issues. For example, if you are good in a certain area, for example, I've seen some who are already even championing the health agenda, others are championing the pension agenda. You can work across university, collecting members' views, and we sit in consultative forums at different levels to know how we can represent our members better. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. for that. Shall we applaud all of them for responding to our questions? Now, we do have a little session where if the contestants have questions for each other, if any, they could do that, and we see how they debate along these questions, if any. If there's none, we will request them to now move to the next section, which is to give their closing remarks. Any question for any contestant amongst yourself? Oh, there's one. Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity once again. I want to look at my colleagues as we are all aspirants aspiring to serve. But my first concern goes to the honorable contestant for the chair, for the position of chapter secretary, Mr. Sawincha. You have been the chapter secretary for 5 years. Chairman for 5 years, sorry, and you have said it clearly that you served for 5 years. We know in our constitution there is provision that you can serve for 2 terms, 5 years, 5 years. Why are you firing yourself from the position of a chapter secretary, and you want, I mean, the chairman of our UASU TUK chapter. Actually, you have fired yourself, because I was looking at it like, if he's asking for another term as chairman, I'll vote for him. But I must tell you the truth, I will not vote for you this time around, because I'll be voting for myself.
All right, thank you very much. So the question is, why are you firing yourself?
Yes. And to my other colleague, Mr. Dick Okalo, I was not privy to this, and thank God to social media, until members of your department categorically stated that you are not even a member of the departmental welfare, and now you want to champion the benevolent fund for the whole university. I have been closely observing members asking why you don't contribute whenever we have a bereavement. Maybe now you have started, and you want to be championing benevolent fund. Of what interest is this fund to you?
Thank you very much, Jacinta. Any questions? No? No for now? Maybe you want to respond? Oh, you don't have to respond, but you can respond if you wish to. So, you could start. Yeah.
All right.
Why are you firing?
Thank you. I am not going to ask any of the contestants a question. I thank God that my colleague has asked me a question. I'll respond calmly as well. The position of chairman is not by appointment. It is an elective position. I was elected, so it's a position from which you cannot be fired or you fire yourself. That's why we always seek mandate of the members, and it is constitutional, and therefore I am not firing myself from that position.
Thank you very much. Bonadi?
I probably just have one or two words. One is the benevolent fund at the school level. I'm not a member of it because of the so many other benevolent funds that I'm aware of, that I'm part of. We had a discussion with my wife, and I've made this very clear. We had a discussion with my wife, and we felt that for now we'll give it a pass. Maybe later on we could join the benevolent fund of the school. I've been contributing to what I have, to whenever a member is bereaved, lost a mom or lost a sister, just like most of us do. But the benevolence fund is a bigger picture. It's a bigger picture in the sense that it helps to eradicate the disparities that we see whenever somebody contributions are being made towards somebody who's bereaved. You find that during bereavement, a WhatsApp group is formed. Members contribute 5 or 10,000 or 20,000 or thereabouts. Some even 50,000, depending on how you're known. Then the members' contribution would go up. The benevolent fund is supposed to provide a uniform way of dealing with bereavement, regardless of who you are. Whether you are known or you're not known, you'll be treated in the same manner. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So finally, we would want to give the contestants a chance to request for your vote and give us the concluding remarks, and we'll stop at that for this debate. So we will start from this end, Daktari, going that way. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this opportunity to do my wrap-up. I am looking at the position I'm vying for, the chapter secretary, as one that will give me a good opportunity to speak, and speak well, speak with intelligence, speak with integrity, communicate with credibility, be that honest representative to all, having that level of impartiality, inclusivity, and to help and bring our UASU to another level. I'm looking at raising the bar. And when I look at all the issues which are affecting us, they fall under what we need to negotiate. what are you sending the team you are going to elect to negotiate on your behalf? And I'm very clear, be it healthcare, be it pension, be it our FTSC, be it the workload we are being faced at different grades. We are looking at it like these should be negotiated. And I am looking at it from the angle of being able to raise that bar, being able to even educate the members and to mentor them, to be able to understand even what is at stake for them. You cannot ask for what you don't know is your right. So we need a lot of education to our members, and that is what I'm willing to do, to create awareness. We say my people perish because of lack of knowledge. And I'm telling you this, when our graduate assistants are talking about their gratuity, mine is still lying with the University of Nairobi because the policy was at the end of every contract you apply. I never used to apply. Now I want to go back and see how I can get my gratuity. So we need to educate members about their rights. We need to mentor them on different aspects. For example, I look at it like, am I holding the young ones under me by their hands? And when I say under me, I look at it now, being the chapter secretary, all the members of staff will look at me as that one person who can hold you. I am looking at also everything to be negotiated. We need very clear guidelines from the employer. And when I say from the employer, we know we have so many policies. And whenever you ask, you are told it is in the university website. We cannot be comping all these websites. I believe as a leader, I should have those documents which speak on our rights. And I should be able to educate every member on different forums on that. And I want to touch on something which my colleague talked about, job security. Job security is not to be employed and to work forever with no issues. I am one person who has looked at job security from the angle of being able to serve diligently. And he's talked about insubordination being used, which is not lying in any law. I have looked at the laws which affect us very clearly, and under the Administration Act 2015, that is where we talk about the disciplinary process, and insubordination is well articulated. So I am one chapter secretary who will leverage all our issues and look at the laws which guide us to be able to champion for the rights of the members of this great UASU. Work environment, I cannot talk more because we all know under the circumstances we are working, but trust me, give me the opportunity. I, Dr. Jacinda Kimuyu, I am very dedicated to be that spokesperson for all, inclusivity. Every member is affected. I will not leave everybody. I am that person who will listen to all of you. And I am asking for your vote to be your chapter secretary from 29 January 2021. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shall we applause Dr. Next, Fred Sawenja.
Thank you, Chair. You didn't have a caveat at the beginning that we take care of plagiarism. It's all right. Yeah. Sometimes your idea can be plagiarized, but it's all right because these are competition. Now, members, I'm seeking the position of chapter secretary on a certain basis. I have been in this union, and this should not be taken as negatively as it's been running around. I've been in the union for 10 years, 5 years as vice chair, and 5 years as chair. So I bring in this office substantial experience, good or bad, and a deep understanding of the issues which affect us, and therefore I'm prescribing very practical solutions on the way forward for this particular union. Dear to my heart is the aspirations of members as captured in our constitution. And I did mention this at the beginning, that in our constitution we have a promise of two things, bread and roses. We have been entirely fighting for bread many of these years. would wish that we shift the focus from that to where the roses are, so that we bring dignity to the workplace. Everything else will be captured within that aspiration. So I'm seeking your support, and I'm sure I'll find favor that when 28th of January comes, you will elect me as the chapter secretary, and I promise that together with the team that will be elected, we shall make sure that all the aspirations of members as captured in our constitution, alongside every other aspect that goes towards making our welfare great, shall be achieved in our 5-point agenda that I mentioned at the beginning of this particular program. Thank you very much, members, and may you vote for a transformative agenda by electing Sawenja W. Fred as your chapter secretary come 28th January of this year. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We are close. And finally, Carlo Dick, if you could have some concluding remarks for us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think we have really engaged ourselves in different forums concerning what we want to do as team change. We want to bring a real radical change in the management and affairs of UASU. And you know our manifesto, you know what we believe in. We want to ask you, members, to really trust us, you know, that this UASU that we are going to have in the forthcoming, beginning 28th, if we are elected, will be a different kind of UASU, different in terms of responsiveness, different in terms of accountability, you know, and different also in terms of the way we engage with you people. It will be a very, very open UASU. To my worthy opponents, you know, I thank you. Bwana Sawenja. You know, though I have a problem, you know, with the fact that you say that you've been there for 10 years. In my view, that's more than sufficient for any leader to have served. You know, we need to know when to quit. You know, and just say no. You know, the tendency with us, I don't want to stereotype, but the tendency with us, but allow me to do that for Africans, you know, is that we don't know when to quit. We want to die in quote unquote in office. It doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't matter how you know what second time 10 years, you know, and you've only done you've done 10 years, and you want to do another 5 years, 15 years, yeah, and you want to do another 5 years, 20 years. Honestly, what is it that you want to bring that is so new? So I'm really averse to that. I'm not a champion of that at all, and I'll just say that very, very clearly. I believe, in fact, if we're elected, the Constitution, one of the constitutional reviews that we would love to engage in is that the leaders, the members of the office, will be elected on a one term of a 5-year period. Maximum. You only have one term, 5 years for all the candidates. In that way, we'll provide opportunities for leadership to be expressed amongst us. We'll have a turnover, in 20 years, we'll have a turnover of about 50 people who will have been tested and tried in leadership. All right? Now, these are the things that we envisage. These are the new agenda. These are the new things. Not somebody say for 10 years, 15 years, he still wants another term, like also the Secretary General. He served for 10 years, he served for 10 years, then now you go and swap, you know, because the Constitution is a bit quiet on that, then you want to come and become the chairman. No. We should allow that. We should be the epitome. The people need to look at us and learn from us as TUK, as members of the university. You know, they need to come to us and learn that we don't do what is outside there. Okay? We come and do something different in this particular university. So, brothers and sisters, members of the university, vote team change. Vote team change. Vote Okalo Dick when the time comes. And I assure you, I promise you, okay, that there will be such a lovely change. and a wonderful change that is going to take place in UASU. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bonadik. Carlo, shall we upload contestants? So finally, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you, our audience, both live, that is online, and the ones who are here in the theater. I'd like to thank the moderators for the questions you posed on behalf of the UASU TUK Chapter members. And more importantly, I'd like to thank our contestants. Asanteni sana, you've now expressed yourself, I'm sure, to a larger crowd who maybe had just seen your posters, but now they've heard you, and I'm sure they will want to engage you more when you go out there and talk to them. And I wish you all the very best in the election on the 20th. Asanteni sana, and for now we will break for lunch, and we will be back at 1:30 to listen to the position of organizing secretary. So our contestants, thank you so much. We wish we could invite you for lunch, but we are going to a little office to eat lunch. We would have loved to have lunch with you. So thank you so much, and see you in the afternoon. You can bring more people, but I'm sure they're joining us elsewhere live. Asante Nisa, you are free to leave at your